Good morning, everybody. Out with my kids, the twins, the little evil twins who can't stay home. We have to be outside or else they will start fighting. Eric, say hi. Eric, say hi. Okay, so we are out in the fields right now. All this land out here behind me and around me, it's all for sale. But since it hasn't been bought, people rent the land out to grow corn. So you can see, so you can see all around me, everywhere. It's nothing but corn. It's wide open here. So we've been just riding around all over the place. Went to the public school earlier. It was a little bit too noisy, so we just went riding around some more. But I've been trying to talk about one topic recently, and it's been a little bit difficult because of the kids. So the topic is about fatherhood, right? So fatherhood and how we raise our kids. Everybody raises their kids differently, but when it comes to like boys, right, it's a little bit harder because there's a lot of pressure for us to raise them properly. And I know one thing is that boys, they could be easily influenced to do the wrong thing. And it always makes me think about the way my dad raised us. He was always so angry. He was always short-tempered. And I used to wonder why. But now that I'm older and I have my own kids, I have my 3 boys, I'm starting to realize the reason why he was so angry, he was so pissed off, and he was always so cautious with us. Because with boys, they get into everything. Anything that's not supposed to be dangerous, they'll make it dangerous. That's just the way they are. They're curious, you know. And my dad, he was always so angry and short-tempered with us because he was always trying to protect us. Because, you know, with Southeast Asian dads like Vietnamese, Cambodian, Laos, they all survived a war. So once they left their countries, they left scarred because their family members died. My dad's brothers were killed by the Khmer Rouge in front of him. One had his head chopped off. Another one had a grocery bag tied over his head, and they suffocated him in front of my dad. So leaving Cambodia and going to America with that memory, I'm pretty sure he was scarred. And there was a lot of PTSD that was never addressed. So surviving a war, seeing family members get killed, he did not want to see that happen to us. And then he left from one war zone into another, which was the neighborhood, the bad neighborhood of America, where there was crack cocaine, a lot of drug dealing, a lot of shooting, gang members and stuff, you know. So that's why he used to get so mad and angry, and he'd yell at us like, "Get your ass in the house." And then he'd whoop our asses, you know? Anytime we did something wrong. And starting to realize why he did that is because if you compare like him beating our ass to us getting shot or ran over by a car, which one is worse, right? Getting hit by my dad or getting hit by a car? So you have to make that comparison. And I find myself doing the same thing with my kids, because with them, they're so curious about everything. So I always have to yell at them. I always have to, sometimes I have to smack them, because if I don't, they don't listen. So the bigger they get, the more curious they are. They're always getting into something. They're always climbing over things. And I try not to smack them, but sometimes I just can't help it. But me smacking them or having them get hit by a motorcycle, which one is worse, right? So yeah, starting to realize a lot of things that my dad did, a lot of things that he said to me, you know. starting to make sense now. Because when I was younger, I didn't pay attention. I didn't listen. You know, I didn't care for what he had to say. But now that I'm a lot older and I have my own boys, I'm starting to understand it. Because I used to feel like as a teenager that my dad, he didn't understand me. But the truth is, I didn't understand him, because it was his job to make sure that we were okay, his job to protect us, and it was his job to always make sure that he felt that we were okay, you know. And if we weren't in a position where he felt like we were okay, he would get angry and he would lose his temper all the time, you know. And he's in his 60s now. He's retiring this year, and him being that old is when I'm just now starting to realize that, man, there's a lot of things that he wanted to do to protect us, you know. But he just had a funny way of expressing it. I guess that's the way with a lot of Asian dads. They don't know how to express themselves, like, emotionally. But this topic is so near and dear to me, and it matters a lot because you have to worry about the boys whenever they get older, you know, like especially when they become teenagers, because teenagers, they can be led the wrong way quite easily. Somebody can just, one of their friends or whatever can just bring them, hey man, let's go try this or let's go try that, and all of a sudden they're hooked on drugs, or they start stealing things, or anything could happen with boys. And I'm pretty sure you guys noticed me posting a lot of stuff about that little kid named Buntu, and the reason why I've been so interested in him is because he has so many bad reasons to not be a good person. He has so many bad reasons to just give up on life, you know. His mom died 2 years ago, and he was only like 11. His dad's not at home. He's in the city, and I guess his dad has a new wife now, a new family. Sends him like $20 to $75 a month for him to spend. So I really care about the kid because I want to see him succeed. And recently he decided to become a monk, and me seeing him do that makes me feel so happy for him, because since he's been staying at the monastery, I've checked on him every now and then, and I can see that he's cleaned up a lot. When I saw him before, the first time I met him, his eyes were like bloodshot, you know. He was real dirty. He didn't know how to take care of himself. But recently, when he's come to visit me, I can see that he's a lot more cleaner. His clothes are clean. His eyes aren't bloodshot red anymore. So he's getting enough to eat, and he's getting enough sleep, you know. So he's not going through a ton of stress like before. And now he's a full-time monk. He has the robe on and everything. And I saw him the other day, and I was so happy when I saw that, you know, because he's going on a positive path. And he's only 13 years old right now, and he made that decision on his own. Nobody forced him to do it, and that made me so happy to see that. And yeah, that's the thing. I'm worried about my kids too, because they're the twins are 2.5. The oldest one is 4 right now. And a critical point for boys is when they become teenagers, because it doesn't matter how hard you try or what way you brought them up. If they take one wrong step, that's it, you know. It's very difficult for them to come back. And I can say that because I know from growing up myself as a teenager how it was like, how difficult it was to follow the right path or to not fall in the wrong direction. It's so easy because our neighborhood where I grew up, there wasn't too many opportunities for us to do anything good. There wasn't too many like good influences that try to get us to walk on the right path, you know. There's a lot of just negative things in Salishan. I can say that people didn't have too many goals people weren't talking about like graduating high school or anything. The only thing people talked about in that neighborhood was people dying, people getting shot, young girls getting pregnant, people going to jail, people going to prison. And I remember thinking like, man, my world is so small because of that neighborhood. Felt like I was stuck in that small neighborhood. And every time we left out of Salishan, we'd see the 2-story houses or 3-story houses, you know. And we were like, man, those are all the rich people. That's where all the rich people stay. And in Salishan, they had the police department near there. So anytime something happened, you'd hear the ambulance driving by. You hear the fire truck, the sirens from the fire truck, like every single day, you know. And I used to be like, man, this is life, you know. There's always some type of emergency. There's always some type of fire happening or somebody getting hurt. It wasn't until like I was in my teens, I was like 18, I think. That's when we finally moved out of the hood. That's when my parents finally were able to buy a house. And once we went to live in a working neighborhood, working class neighborhood. It was so much more peaceful because we were off the main road. We were in the suburbs. Never heard any sirens and no gunshots, none of that. So everything was so much better, you know. And I can say that I guess it's because of the system, the way the system is designed, right? Poor people are separated from the rich. So being poor and living in a neighborhood like that, you don't have too many goals. It takes a lot for people to make it out, you know? So yeah, my days are filled with taking care of them now, trying to make sure that they are raised properly. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad that I have to raise them here in Cambodia, because there aren't too many influences that could bring them the wrong way. Like, don't get me wrong, there are, but not as much as in America, because I see that the Cambodian kids, that the way that they are raised here, they have a lot of respect, because it takes like a whole village to raise one child. And it's true, because there's kids who come to my shop to buy things, and I'll look at them like they have piercings, they have tattoos, right? They'll walk in, then I ask them, how can I help you? Then they'll take off their hat or whatever they're wearing, and you can just see them just kind of bow down, and they'll say like, boo, I want to buy this, you know? And as soon as they do that, I feel like, oh my God, this kid was raised properly, you know? This kid was taught the right way. His parents, you know, made sure that he knew what to do when he was around like elders. So even though he had tattoos and he had piercings and stuff, as soon as he walked in, take off his hat, and he'll just like lower his head down and say, boo, I want to buy this, you know? And as soon as that happens, I just soften up right away, like, oh my God, this kid is so respectful. But not all of them are like that. Some aren't, because some will walk in and they'll say, hey, I need this or I need that, you know? And it'll kind of make me angry right away, but I don't like lash out, you know? And it's like what they said, it takes a village to raise kids, right? To raise one kid. So it's my job to explain to that kid also. I'll ask them, say it again, what do you want? Then he'd say, oh, I want to buy this. Then I'll tell him, like, next time say it like this, say boo or you know? And then they'll remember that. Then the next time that they come, that kid will do the same thing, but this time he'll remember to show respect. So yeah, that's the thing when it comes to dealing with teenagers. Sometimes they don't know any better, so it's our job to try and help them out. And one thing that the villagers say around here is that they say kon ke kon yeung, right? So kon ke kon yeung means their kid is like our kid, and our kid is like their kid. So everybody has a responsibility to try and help raise those teenagers. So that's why I look at it differently, because it's true. I would want people to do the same thing with my kids. If my kids were to go somewhere and come across as rude, I would want somebody to try and correct them instead of trying to beat them or get angry with them. It's better that way. All right, guys, so just one of my morning thoughts, something I've been trying to talk about for a while now, but haven't had a chance to, because the kids, they get crazy and they start fighting. So here's another view of the field. It's nice and quiet, open. All this land is for sale if anybody is interested. So it's wide open. Anything that you see out there is for sale. So if anybody is interested, you can come out here and buy some land. All right, guys, it's about that time for me to keep moving, because these guys, they start fighting if I stay in one place for too long. All right, thank you guys for watching.